Well, welcome back to Bitcoin Generations. Just getting the show started here. Thanks for stopping in. I've got an interesting day today. Wanted to kind of update some folks on kind of the things that are going on in Bitcoin. We have some interesting news to kind of talk about, but just want to quickly shout out the reason why we do this channel is for baby boomers who are new to Bitcoin, and also to new Bitcoiners who are kind of new to Bitcoin and kind of unsure about some things, interested in asking some questions, and um, very yeah, very good to have those kinds of people here. Obviously, you know. Uh, our purpose is to kind of like prepare people who are new to Bitcoin to think kind of outside the box, think outside the traditional finance system, think outside of money and Roth IRAs and stock markets and those kinds of things. If you're saving for the future, you want to try to save so that you can preserve your wealth for future generations, and that means that. Um, that requires some understanding of the kind of the nature of the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar and what has happened over the long period of time. I've covered that somewhat in previous videos, but so I would encourage you to go back to some of those and see what I mean by when I say your U.S. dollar is like a melting ice cube. It is losing purchasing power, and it's not something you want to have for store your long-term wealth in. We are maybe out there working hard to bring in money, but sometimes when you bring it in, what happens to it? I mean, the dollar just kind of goes for just less and less far in terms of your purchasing power, and that's translated into high prices. That's how we see that at the store. It's there's nothing new under the sun, especially with regarding to that. So I would like to say that it's important for us to have that kind of background and sort of be on the same page with regard to the context of what's going on with money. Um, as we kind of dive into like what is money and what is what is happening with with the different assets that are out there right now, like Bitcoin. And so let's just kind of keep this rolling. I'm gonna bring up something interesting for you. I believe you're gonna enjoy this. For some context, okay. You know, again, this show is, by the way, this show is not a live show. I'm usually live on Thursdays at 2 p.m. But these are going to be streamed in the evening. I'm going to have some that are coming out in the evening now, probably around the 7:30, 8 o'clock time frame, because I'm trying to get more videos out there, and that seems to work well. Uh, Hopefully there's no conflicts with any other people that I know, and their shows and timing and such. But it's just critically important to get this message out there. And for again, for baby boomers, new Bitcoiners, people who this resonates with, you don't have to be, you could be 8 years old or 89 years old, and it's still relevant, because who doesn't have anything that they want to keep? If it's yours, you should keep it. It's your property. It's your money. And you want to learn how to preserve it for future, for you in the future, so you don't lose it, but also maybe for some loved ones that you have, or people that are future generations you don't even know yet, right? Okay, so as we go into this, we're going to talk about a couple things that I think are really good. Um, and what are those things? So I'm going to share a screen with you about one of the conversations that I've had recently. Is been talking with a lot of folks about the upside and the potential for gold to continue to be a reliable store of value. And there's some people that I've talked to that they're really drill down on this. It's like everything else is melting away, but the conviction for a lot of people with regard to gold and how that has traditionally been a store of value, and it's really the only thing we have left. This is the argument that I hear. And so I would say that this is not something that we really want to continue to well, I'm just going to encourage people not to continue to think that way, because there are some other things that you need to learn. Okay, so what are these things we're talking about? This is what I'm going to bring this up regarding Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about how Bitcoin has been growing, and it is. I think it's very important to understand. Okay, so we're going to share this, and shout out to Jesse Myers of Once in a Species. He's put together some great slides, and this is one of the research, some of the research that he's done. Okay, so in your asset categories here, we have Bitcoin, gold, right? All these right here. Okay, we're going to compare 2023 to 2025. All right, here we are right here. Bitcoin has grown from a 0.4 trillion to a 1.9 trillion market cap, and that's a CAGR of 120% increase. And we're going to look at gold. The next highest one was a 35% increase, and all these other ones just pale in comparison. Okay, but we are going to look at this one right here. We're going to look at that shortly. On the bonds, I have talked about real estate. We've talked about gold. Haven't really talked about equities and collectibles, but Bitcoin is shining right here from these two, from 2023 to 2025. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of move forward a little bit. We got a couple other slides here. I'm going to go into. This is the one that I love, and this is the one I wanted to share with you. And this one right here is. Let me get rid of some of that if I can. Can we do that? Yeah, we can. All right. So I want you to see, this is Bitcoin up here in the left-hand corner. Okay. And for those of you who've seen this chart before, this was nothing new for you. Okay. But this is where the market cap is for Bitcoin right here at about $2 trillion. Okay. The gold cap cap is at 22 trillion. All right. So we have this kind of right here, but here is the bond market. Okay. This is, I think, something that is sitting here waiting to start being eaten by Bitcoin. And this technically, and in terms of financial, traditional finance, this gets into way into waters that I personally I'm not comfortable wading into. I'm not going to teach you all about bonds. I don't really need to, but I am going to tell you that the people who are into bonds are sick and tired of getting 2%, 3%, even no matter how reliable that might be. I mean, trust in the government and faith in the monetary system is in my view, an all-time low. So, it has to do with the psychology of investing, and this asset class here in bonds at $318 trillion is, now these are the total global asset values. Okay, so this is out here right up in the right hand corner. All right, so he's saying that all these assets together are like 1,000 trillion. That's a very big number, right? We really can't even comprehend that number because it's so large. Okay, so my point is as you see this continue to grow, this is a massive upside for Bitcoin. It's going to take over the gold market, I believe, in terms of market capitalization. I think it's just a matter of time. Don't know exactly when, but this right here, this big monster over here. This is the one that's sitting out here. This is the 900-pound gorilla. And I think we're going to see some exciting things with that come the future. Maybe not even this year. I'm not sure when. I don't really care when. I'm just knowing that this little asset right here, this is the little engine that could right over here in this top left corner with the orange. This is where, I've got some things parked. Really, just love Bitcoin. All right. So here we go. We're going to kind of keep moving. And let's see. Oh, wait. I have that right there. And then, okay, no, that was the first one. All right. So I got that one, and I'm not going to talk about that one or that one or that one. So we are going to move on to another chart here. And we've talked a little bit about the upside, the massive upside, and why is that? Well, I'm going to share this one too. This one is the halving schedule, but it has more information on it than the halving schedule. Okay, there's some more information here, and I want you to see just some of this. And this is, I think, a good, because I've talked about halving, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so this is a much better graphic representation. And again, kudos to Jesse Myers for putting this together. All right, so let's get over here and present that very quickly. Good deal. There we go. And there we go. All right. So now we've got the halving schedule here, and what he's showing us is that the first 4 years of Bitcoin, they were issuing 50 Bitcoin per block. Okay, so average of every 10 minutes, a Bitcoin block would be mined, and in each block there was a block reward of 50 Bitcoin. Okay, so there you go. Until it moving right along here from 2009 to 2012, those 50 Bitcoin. All right, so that's a lot of Bitcoin at the very beginning, and then at 2012, it reduced by half. Okay, and so you can see every 4 years it reduces by half, and all the way down to where we are right now in this particular halving of 2024, when 24 happened, and that happened to 24 happened. 2024 Bitcoin halving happened in April of 2024. So there we were, and it went from we're not here anymore. We're actually probably right around here at this point. How did I get a little magnifying glass there? Well, so we're right about here. And so when you look at what the halving schedule is and the supply, this is the supply right here. And he's telling us that here we are, and there will only be 21 million Bitcoin. And here down here, he's saying that the annual issuance keeps shrinking to zero. So this actually goes out to year 2140 if we go out far enough, and we will actually get to zero eventually. But you'll notice something here. The halving schedule happens so that there's less Bitcoin being mined. There's more Bitcoin in circulation or being lost by people because of human error. And what happens to the value of something like that when you have a halving schedule like this and the human error, and you have the scarcity of only 21 million? This is what we need to study. This is what you need to talk to other people about. If you understand anything about Bitcoin, this is the juice. This is the crux of the matter about why this is valuable and why it's scarce. And this is the reason for the title of this video, the massive upside to Bitcoin. So, there's a lot of things you can say and you can think and you can do, but until you understand some of these fundamentals, and you are not here, my friend, you're actually way over here. So look at this. Look at this right here. Okay. So we are right here. We're not in 2026. Okay. We're right about here. Okay. We have just come off of a massive amount of Bitcoin that's been mined. And so there's a lot in circulation, but there's still some to be mined, right? We were looking at 3.125. So we have, I believe it's like 94% or close to 95% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be mined has been mined. And so what that means is there's not as much. And so, but there's still a scramble. There's still a lot of miners and a lot of mining companies getting into mining because it's still very profitable. And the question will be like, question comes up quite a bit, even though we don't need to focus on mining, but the question comes up about like, well, mining, well, what are these miners going to do when they are all kind of done mining Bitcoin all that time? They do all this work to mine just a little tiny bit of Bitcoin. Well, over that same network, remember these blocks that are mined, yes, they do go into the blockchain because every block in the blockchain is tied to the blocks before it, and it kind of attaches on, and then it becomes part of the ledger. Well, every one of those blocks is comprised of all these transactions that have to happen, and they have to be mined according to the protocol, and it has to be done just a certain way. Well, when they do get mined and they do get attached to the blockchain, that is, all those transactions have a transaction fee associated with those. And so the miners actually will get a portion of those fees and the block reward. Okay, so they get two different kinds of payments in a sense. They get the block reward, which is 3.125 Bitcoin currently, but then they also get the transaction fees, and that is kind of like when you purchase Bitcoin, they disclose to you on the exchange, they disclose to you what the fee is for purchasing that Bitcoin, and you when you do that, you'll see what it is. It's actually explained to you in terms of satoshis or sats. So that is kind of the nutshell of the kind of like why this thing is so massive. I do believe that that this is something that we definitely want to continue to kind of keep an eye on. That it's but this right here, this is very difficult to kind of, I think, to get our head around, is this one right here, because I'm going to show it to you again. Let's see. Yeah. This one it doesn't really make a lot of sense, probably. It just really shows you these squares that are different colors, and like, what's the big deal, and all that. So when you do some more homework, and I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. If you do some more homework and you want to, trust me. I mean, I'm telling you, this whole thing is all of Bitcoin is the kind of the saying goes, don't trust, verify. Well, don't trust my word for it. Don't trust, verify that actually that you do need to do your homework. But I can tell you, just straight from me to you, that you want to do your homework on this, because you will be so glad you did your own homework, because then you will understand, and no one else can take that away from you. But when you do understand that, this little engine that could right up here is based on solid programming, solid Bitcoin network of the core, well, the base main chain, or the layer one, all these things that comprise the Bitcoin, the base of the Bitcoin software. I want to call it core, but core, knots. There's a few other terms. There's a few different variations of this, but basically, they run this whole thing on the software, and it is impenetrable. It's not going to get hacked. And a lot of people think that it could get hacked by quantum computers, but there's a lot of also, this isn't dynamic. I mean, this is a dynamic thing. Bitcoin just doesn't sit there by itself and just, do nothing. They've got people working on it all the time, and any quantum computer kind of stuff is going to be is going to have to keep up with the upgrades and stuff that happens with the Bitcoin software. So there's that. Okay, and you've got a lot of really specially trained eyes and people that are very smart about keeping an eye on this. There's a lot of assets involved in this, and we're talking about people's money. So there's a ton of people who've got a lot more money in it than you and I have, and they're keeping an eye on this very carefully. So I would say that, don't trust, verify. But at the end of this, I think you will agree that, this asset right here, this Bitcoin at $2 trillion market cap, is continuing to grow. And there's some amazing resources about like why that is. There is one other thing I'm going to show you, and it's this video that came out today. Okay, so this is kind of cutting edge news as of today. I don't know, news. I don't know if it's news, but it's an interview that came out today, and I do believe it's something worth watching. Let's watch Michael Saylor, who's the CEO of Strategy, and he's going to talk to us about why he thinks Bitcoin is going to $1 million. And that chart that I showed you with the little Bitcoin square up in the top left corner, this is, just keep that in mind. Keep that picture in mind as you hear him speak in this video.
The asset to continue a price increase at these levels that we've seen. I mean, can it keep that up over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years? And at what point do we see, winter coming again? Because that's been a permanent fixture of this asset class, right? It's gone from 0 or 1,000 to 20, and then back down to 3 or 4, and then up to 50, and then back down to 15, and now up to 110. Like, when does it drop again?
Winter's not coming back. We're past that. We're past that phase. If Bitcoin's not going to 0, it's going to $1 million. And you have all the evidence you need to determine that, right? The President of the United States has determined he supports Bitcoin. The cabinet supports Bitcoin. Scott Bessent supports Bitcoin. Paul Atkins has shown himself to be an enthusiastic believer of Bitcoin and digital assets. Ken Tez at CFTC feels the same way. The banks are going to custody Bitcoin. Bitcoin has gotten through its riskiest period. The accounting has been corrected. There's now only 450 Bitcoin a day available for sale by natural sellers. That's the miners. At this level, that works out to about $50 million of Bitcoin available for sale every day. If that $50 million is bought, then the price has got to move up to find any seller that's price sensitive. Now, if you do the math, you'll actually see the Bitcoin treasury companies by themselves are buying the entire natural supply.
Yeah.
BlackRock and the ETFs are buying another measure of that. And we've got nation state actors coming into the space. So I think when Bitcoin rallies, if it surges to 500,000 or $1 million, then maybe we could talk about it crashing down by $200,000 a coin. But at the current price levels, it only takes $50 million to turn the entire drive shaft of the crypto economy one turn. And you've got the Trump Media Organization announcing $2.5 billion. You've got GameStop announcing $500 million. You've got my company that's raising billions and billions of dollars. So the writing is on the wall. Bitcoin's moving higher.
Meet the tiniest HR team in the world.
What do you think Paylocity does?
Paylocity pay people money.
Oh dear. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know if you were able to hear the audio on that. I hope the audio was okay. This show was actually not supposed to be live. I made a mistake here. It's supposed to air later on this evening, but I am so glad you're here. I'm seeing the comments here. I'm just like, oh, okay. All right. So yeah, we have Alvio. welcome, Alvio. Oh, I love the seagull on the windowsill there. That's wonderful. And Pipeline is here. Welcome, Pipeline. Yeah. And you're not late. I said actually I'm early, and I'm learning my technology here. So Pipeline says I have a new DCA method the first of the month. I invest $1, the second dollar, and on up to the 30th for $30. I love that. That's great. It kind of requires though like a manual buy every day if you're probably doing it that way. Maybe not, but I think that's how you have to do that. And whatever works for you though. DCA, keep stacking. You know, it's great. And Adam, hey, welcome, Adam. Is that? I think I recognize that Adam. Adam Bitcoin. Hello. So, you know, we have a massive upside to Bitcoin, and you know, this is something we want to continue to kind of keep in mind, and as you speak to other people, as you speak to your family members about why that is, um, you know, but all those things sort of like, you know, out there with regard to the bullishness of Bitcoin, you know, just remember, you know, stay humble and keep working on your own security and your own stuff that you have to work on, your own DCA, you know, converting things that you have that you don't need into Bitcoin. So yeah, this is something that I'm doing. I had a yard sale last week, and it was great. I got rid of some stuff that I didn't need. I got rid of some stuff that my kids didn't need, and I was doing the yard sale, and I never do yard sales. So I'm like, yeah, you know. And they came back later after, you know, baseball game and stuff. They're like, hey, Dad, can I get some of that? I'm like, nope, it's going into Bitcoin. We got that taken care of. So don't even ask, right? You know, I leave this up here sometimes in case, you know, if you think we're providing any value, you know, I would love to have some, you know, we try to bring value for value. But if you don't know what this is a QR code for if you have a Lightning wallet or something like that. You can send a zap to the show, and you can provide some, if you've been provided value, you can send a zap to the show, and that's what that's for anybody who doesn't have a Lightning wallet. That is something that you can get from I can put some, well, I would recommend a Speed wallet or the Aqua wallet, and I'll put those links in the show notes so you can get that going. But I really do, just, that's optional. And, you know, of course, I love it when people like or subscribe. You know, we're getting close to, well, somewhat close to 200 subscribers. So I'm like, well, yeah, maybe we're doing something right. So I don't know. But you can like or subscribe or unsubscribe if that's your fancy. If there's something that we say people doesn't really people. I do have another series that I have started, and it's actually a series. It's called Living Out Your Faith, and this is something that I feel passionate about. I love reading God's word and kind of sharing some of the stuff that I learned. So there's kind of a series that's going to be coming out. I'm going to be doing some short segments on that, and then also we're going to be you know, kind of going into just some of the recommendations that I'm going to be making as far as, like, you know, like how to get to, you know, like, how do I start? Okay. And then what do I do? Like, what's the step number 1? Okay. And then what's step number 2? And so, and kind of all the way through, like, what do I need to have in terms of my security and like my inheritance protocol? You know, a guy like me, I'm probably closer to, you know, the end of my life than I to my beginning. So, like, how do I kind of plan for that? You know, I don't want to leave my family just kind of, this is a new kind of asset. We've never experienced anything like this before. What do we do with our Bitcoin? if somebody passes away? And this is a great question. This is a question we absolutely need to be on. And Jor shared on his show the other day, a friend of mine, Jor, and uh, he said that there was a famous person who has kind of in Bitcoin who has inquired about this kind of protocol that is being used to do like an inheritance protocol. Okay, and it's really really neat. It's really neat, and it doesn't require any KYC. It's a non KYC sort of setup. So there's no requirement to give anyone your seed phrase or your key. When you do a multi-sig, you don't have to do it a certain way. You can actually plan it out and do it the way that you want to do it. But it's really neat because you don't have to have any Bitcoin or any sign of any Bitcoin in your home if you don't want to. You can completely be anonymous and just completely private in that way. And you don't have to worry about the person or the company that you asked to help you secure your Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about them having your information either. So it's like private times like exponential, like times 2 or to the second power. So those are some cool things that are coming. Going to have some great announcements on that probably next week. I'm going to have to get through kind of the approval on making that public. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing where we're going to have some good stuff coming. This is going to be really good. I can't wait. And I'm just one of those. Okay, type A first responder. So I mean, that's like I'm eternally vigilant. So anything that goes on like that, I'm like I'm wanting to get it going, like respond like 911 kind of thing. So anyway, but with that, I thought I would kind of share a kind of a post that I wrote. I'm just going to kind of read this for you, and see if I can bring that up. And I'm going to go. Yeah. So I'm going to put these things in the show notes too. Bear with me while I write this out here. Technically challenged boomer here. Okay. Actually, so yeah. We're going to let's see, bring that up. It's a post on well, I'll bring this up too. Let me do that. I'm going to share the screen here. And this is a post that this is a place where I post sometimes, and I follow. It's kind of a conservative website, but just show you kind of some of the announcements that Donald Trump made today. Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied up front by China. And likewise, we will provide China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, not really into political stuff, and I don't like really reading all that, but I will say that this is at least as much public relations as it is substance. It looks like to me. I don't know. That's not why I'm here. I'm gonna just keep moving. I do like to. I am constantly trying to let people know, and as I can, um, about Bitcoin and about the things that I learn and talk about. But well, so I said, I post rarely anymore, but I had one to write since my content is very much in alignment with the Conservative Treehouse's stated mission. Our mission at the Conservative Treehouse is to be the premier assembly of freedom-loving people. That's what their mission is. It's with that mission in mind that I write this. Bear it with me in making my point on freedom, money, and wealth preservation. Is another day of distraction in the fake news media scamscape. I wanted to share a couple of thoughts on World War III that is currently going on. It's a financial war, and Sundance declared long ago that there are trillions at stake. Side note, Sundance is the guy who edits this. It's his blog. Stay with me as I bring some things going on currently to your attention that may be under your radar. Some distractions, I go into that, and I go into these take your attention off of the most important metric, America's $36.96 trillion in debt. We have two obvious choices: pay the debt back or default on the debt. But I think the choice is clear. I don't think they will pick either one of those, but for sure there will be no paying the debt back. This can gets kicked down the road as far and for as long as they can if the big beautiful bill passes. My hope for a balanced budget went when Pocahontas and 47 found something to agree on. I digress. I don't think they will pick choice 1 or 2. I think the course that will be taken is to print, baby, print, also known as money printer goes brrr, brrr, brrr. Sounds like a diesel engine slowing down. But there will be so much money printed that helicopters won't be able to get it dropped on us fast enough. This will cause massive inflation, and we ain't seen nothing yet. All it actually takes to print is to click a button and whammo, golden age with tons of paper money. The problem with this free money is that it is backed by nothing. It is fiat paper currency. With all this newly created money, our prices will soar, painfully so. Prices are going to soar. If you understand value and what happens to scarce assets, then you understand that scarce assets increase greatly in value, or what the market is willing to pay for them, especially during times of chaos, uncertainty, hyperinflation, and fear of missing out. What to do? Relying on real estate to maintain its value is short-sighted. Real estate is not going to maintain its value. Real estate is going to be reduced to its value of utility, or utility value. This is way less than it is currently valued. What about gold? Shiny rocks have been a traditional store of value and may continue to hold some value, but over time, gold has shown to increase in its supply, and so it is not truly a scarce asset. It's probably the best option for some who believe in it and are not interested in learning about anything new where wealth is headed. So, if wealth doesn't go to real estate and gold, where is wealth headed long term? Where are these guys with all the money stacking their money? I believe many smart minds believe wealth is headed into the scarcest asset known, and that asset is Bitcoin. Even people who have researched and understand it are still fairly rare. And after much looking, I have found little qualitative info on it here in the branches of the beloved ragtag bunch of the Conservative Treehouse. Have I missed informative conversations on it? I don't know, but I'm not spending my time going to look for that. I'm spending my time creating content, researching more, loving my family, building my faith, and continuing to stack Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer medium of exchange. It works 24/7 and is extremely undervalued. By the way, I would just say that the post that I wrote here is very long. Sorry about that, but it is for a lot of people who are baby boomers who read this blog, and I know they do. I've seen how many followers this guy has, and there's a ton of them in here, and there's like you could hear a pin drop when I'm like writing this. There's no responses on this. Maybe they just like glazed over. So continuing, Bitcoin. Yes, even at its recent all-time high of $110,000 for one Bitcoin, it is still early. Yes, we are early. Do a little homework on Bitcoin. The number of zero-hour dipshits who have spouted misinformation, and lies about Bitcoin are too numerous to mention. And finding good information about Bitcoin takes work, but it is very well worth it. Here's the important stuff on why it's scarce, will stay scarce, decentralized, and cannot be stopped. And so I go into 21 million will ever exist. It's what Satoshis are. Here's 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin. The network is protected and will not be hacked even by a quantum computer. It's got 20,000 nodes. Critical for the beginner, but more detail about the mining. Not critical for the beginner. Talk about the halving schedule. 400,000 blocks, or about every 4 years. Block reward gets reduced by half. On and on. And basically, I'm offering to write some guest articles for him, so that in order to help them understand this asset has been legitimized by the President Trump, the Vice President, the sons of the President, and his administration, and Bitcoiners everywhere, and that they're using it. And I referred to my channel here, and I'm happy to explain anything for them if they want to ask questions. I gave them the information on Bitcoin generations, and then I talk about its difference between Bitcoin, and the difference between Bitcoin and altcoins, or the other cryptocurrencies that are out there. People who understand Bitcoin, they understand it was called a digital gold or internet money, but it was the first cryptographic finite asset. And it's different than other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Tron, Litecoin, etc. These others have leaders, and they have pre-mine offerings, and are based on proof of stake and not proof of work. Bitcoin is based on proof of work, and there is a massive difference between the two of these. If you don't understand the difference and you want to see what the difference is, pull up a chart of Ethereum and Bitcoin and see what happened. Ethereum went off of proof of work at one point and has continued to go to zero. Not zero yet, but it's headed towards zero. And it's just, it's not good. And so who does and doesn't understand it? Okay, my opinion, I honestly think Donald Trump does understand Bitcoin to a degree. He also has played the crypto play by issuing his own meme coin. That is a grifter move in the eyes of the discerning Bitcoiner community. To each their own, though I wouldn't have bought any. I believe it's understood by Howard Lutnick. He stated he owns millions of dollars worth of it, and that his firm Cantor Fitzgerald owns quite a bit of it. They also had Michael Saylor come in and do a whole presentation on this to their entire company in New York. And that was before President Trump, after President Trump was elected, and before he took office. Many of the original Bitcoiners from way back to 2010 understand it very well. Michael Saylor, Jeff Booth, Lynn Alden, and Luke Groman, for example, understand it very well and provide fairly regular interviews that can be found on YouTube. Crypto or altcoins gain market value when Bitcoin goes higher. They act like flies, following wherever the big dog goes. Okay. Yeah, it's a poor analogy. If you don't understand it yet, in the words of Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's anonymous inventor, if it catches on and becomes popular, you might want to get some. Understatement of the 21st century, in my opinion. Check out the YouTube channel and see if it suits you. I am a faith-based Bitcoiner, leading my family, teaching my kids how to save in the only sound money that there is. Have a great rest of your day. May the Lord bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. And that, my friends, was the post that I wrote on the Conservative Treehouse. And so if you wonder who it is that posts some of these things, yeah, yours truly, that was me. So here I am, all public with that, and public on YouTube saying all this stuff. So here we go. Let's see how that goes. I'm not sure. Well, we'll find out. Finally, I want to kind of wrap this up real quick. This is going to be a kind of a short rip. We just crossing 46 minutes, and gonna say a couple more things before we go, and that is, kind of. I kind of I don't know how much of this I want to say, but I'll say this. So I was talking while I was in Vegas. I was talking with a guy that I know there, and he was telling me some, like, he knew some people that we might be able to do some things for, and the whole concept of don't trust and verify, it works both ways, right? You know that. And I think it's important to kind of practice what you preach. And sometimes when you kind of living this stuff out, it's sort of like, people get, they don't know where to go with that. They might react in a way you don't expect. And so, yeah, that's kind of how this situation went. Anyway, so I'm just, I'm just like, okay, I'm like, okay, like, here I am trying to, don't trust, but to verify, some of the things that this guy was telling me. And, I don't necessarily believe everything that somebody says until, I have a way to verify it. It's just kind of the rules of the road, and when you've lost enough money, and when you've been, stubbed your toe enough times, and you've kind of like done enough things, you kind of need to sort of like walk the walk. You don't want to trust, you need to verify, and then we'll see, based on time and track record, how that gets built, right? And so I think that's all I kind of need to say about that situation, because it's probably not completely wrapped up yet. But the whole practicing what you preach, don't trust but verify. We can be friendly, we can do business, but I have to kind of like verify some things, kind of thing. If that resonates with you, if that makes sense to you, then maybe that's something to take away from this conversation. That in all this stuff, we need to kind of make sure that we utilize best practices, and don't trust and verify is I believe kind of one of those things. And we need to remember that, when you're talking about digital assets, those of us who are my age, we've been around a computer for quite a while, and we've seen a lot of things and heard a lot of things about scams and things like that. But I believe that Satan is very crafty, and that people can be very crafty and sinful in the things that they do and the ways that they scam other people. And I think this is the case in point, that you really need to use best practices when it comes to your security and your privacy. This is not something that, hey, I am not perfect. I do not have this all like dialed in like 100%. I'm working on it as well. So that's why I like being in a community where I have other people that I can ask questions. If it's something where we really have to intensely work on, then I can pay them, value for value. And, and I think that any reasonable person kind of expects to, if you're really stuck, if you really need help, and you need to ask for something like that, to have a community that you can ask somebody to help you, that's great, because then you do have somebody that you have some sort of relationship with, that you can then exchange value for value, and you're going to feel better for that. You're going to feel better about that, because this is sort of like that kind of that circular economy, if you will, where this person over here and this person over there are kind of being able to do some things, and there's sort of somewhat of an accountability. I wouldn't say it's 100% really reliable, because anything can kind of go off rails at some points. But I think in terms of your reputation, you kind of want to keep that in the Bitcoin community. You're going to want to have reputation is really everything. And bad actors, once they kind of show their ugly head, you're going to find out who's not for real, and who is. So reputation is a big thing. And we need to continue to try to make sure that, and stay vigilant, because, here I go, as I sit here today, I'm thinking, well, maybe my reputation is okay, but what if somebody comes along and then kind of fractures that, or poses as me and somewhere else, and they're that could be all jacked up, and I might have a whole lot of fire to put out regarding that. So none of us want that, but you have to stay vigilant, right? You have to keep your common sense about you. Make sure you're checking on things. Make sure you're reviewing your security, and making sure you're checking on your Bitcoin about every 6 months, making sure that it's there. Speaking of which, I have to do that too. But that is something that you want to continue to try to do. Okay, best practices, establish a good reputation, and then maintain that. Stay humble, and in staying humble, making sure that you never overpromise, and always over deliver. So under promise and over deliver when you say you're going to do something, right? You let your yes be yes and your no be no. Yeah, that's what we're working on. That's good. All right. So with that, I would say that we've covered quite a bit of ground today. We remember the QR codes there for people who have a Lightning wallet. If you don't have a Lightning wallet, I will put a Lightning wallet referral code in the show notes for Speed Wallet, and also for some of the other the 3 exchanges that I use, and another tool that I use called Fold. Finally, I'm going to say this before I go. Went to a Bitcoin meetup last night in Columbus, and very interesting. It was good. There was a politician there, and it was very good. But I would say that the thing that I liked most was being able to discuss sort of like things related to Bitcoin with other Bitcoiners, and it's always good. And out of like 50 people or something like that, it was a good presentation at River, the offices of River, the headquarters of River in Columbus. And it was a good presentation, and it was good to see other Bitcoiners there. And I asked them about, I asked the COO, I asked her of the, if they were going to be doing anything kind of like the Fold debit card product. And she said, Fold has a debit card product, and that is like a prepaid sort of debit card. And then they also have a credit card that is there's like a waiting list for, but so it's a debt-based instrument. When I asked her about that, she said, well, we don't have any plans to do anything debt-based. because as you may or may not know, River is they work off proof of reserves. Okay, proof of reserves. So this means, for those of you who don't know, that means they publicly disclose how much Bitcoin they have, and it's sort of like that's what they have on their balance sheet. So they're like, full transparency kind of a model, which is really, really good. Okay, and a debt-based kind of a product like that would impact their ability to be to offer proof of reserves. So this is something to keep in mind as that kind of unfolds. But she did say that they are going to offer at some point a product kind of like a debit card or uh, product like that at some point in I don't know how near future, but they are working on that. So anyway, so that's kind of the update from that I have from River. And as we go forward, I have basically kind of uh, an ability to, when we have meetings over there, I have the ability to meet with some of their folks and just ask them questions like this. So if you have any future questions for River and you want me to just kind of like mainline it right to the top, I mean, I was standing there meeting with the COO, and the CEO was in the same room, and he was talking to some other people. But it's that kind of a company. They do a lot of really kind of open source, just really transparent stuff with the Bitcoin community here in Columbus. So that was good to see. And also, some other news for Ohio. The Secretary of State's office is working on getting the Bitcoin to be able to be received by the state of Ohio for anyone who wants to open a business and they want to pay in Bitcoin. So, as you would expect, a lot of red tape, government stuff on that to try to got to get things moved through the archaic system there, but the guy who's interested in doing that is the Secretary of State, and he was there last night discussing that as well. So shout out to him for trying to do that. But politicians, I trust them about as far as I can, see from here to this screen right here. So with that, moving right through it. 57 minutes in. Just happy to be here. Happy to be doing some stuff with Bitcoin. Happy to be bringing you some value, hopefully tonight. But we're going to continue to try to keep this cranking out kind of thing. And hope y'all are having a great evening. And we'll be talking to you again real soon. I'm going to be trying to work on my studio here, trying to put a new thing up in the back, so it won't be so red. And but I like red. I think it's great. I love red. And of course, I'm in Ohio, so it's all about Ohio State Buckeyes. So there you go. It's almost football season. But I'm gonna duck out of here. Y'all have a great rest of your day, rest of your evening, and hope to sleep well tonight. Get some good Z's in, because tomorrow's coming. And it's going to be a big deal. All right. You have a great evening, and we'll talk to you real soon.